Now, since the conflict began in Gaza and between Gaza and Israel last October, over 42,000 Palestinians have died, with more being in desperate need of medical aid.
Joining us now are two people who are aiming to help with the humanitarian effort in Gaza. Please welcome co-founder of One4Humanity, Shane Leahy, and entrepreneur Ross Kelly. Thank you both so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you here. Now, Shane, you're known, like you played rugby, like you played for Connacht, you played for Munster, you've had this career. How did you get into humanitarian work?
I've always had an interest in it and would have been involved in various different initiatives over the years, but I guess at the outset of the Ukrainian war, I felt like so many Irish that I needed to get involved and do something. So I initially volunteered for Gaza and ended up on the Ukrainian side of the border with Slovakia. And I guess met quite a few people and heard their stories and got more involved. And through business and rugby connections, I got in contact with CMark, which is the biggest cement company in Ukraine. It's owned by CRH, an Irish company. And we were quickly able to establish warehouses and distribution within Ukraine using their warehouses and their truck drivers. And through that, we got a US charity called Heart to Heart. And they donated 16 hospital units and 80 million in medicines and counting. And we were able to bring that from the early stages of the war right to the front lines using the CMark drivers. So we were able to scale our humanitarian effort quite quickly.
Yeah,
that's incredible, isn't it? The determination, I suppose, come from sport and the contacts that you make along the way help massively. But your own organisation, One4Humanity, so it's now delivering aid to Gaza. We hear all the time how difficult it is for them to get aid into Gaza. What sort of form is this aid?
Yeah, I'm going to hand that over to Ross because he's the more expert in the Gaza side of things. So
what we're doing is we're providing a surgical unit, a mobile surgical unit, which is basically a 20-foot shipping container with two adjoining tents, which have two recovery beds and a scrub room, and it contains everything you need to perform an operation. And
so we're seeing, is this it here?
Yeah, that's it. That's from my visit to Holland 2 weeks ago. So it's fully kitted out. It has everything you need to perform. You can do 10 surgeries a day with it. The field hospital we're working with the International Medical Corps in Gaza can currently do 40 operations a day. The provision of this unit will increase that by 10 surgeries a day. So an extra 3,000 surgeries a year, effectively.
How did you get involved in this, Ross?
Well, I'm involved in the Entrepreneur of the Year network with Shane. And Shane launched the Gaza response last November. I donated to it, and he rang me about 6 weeks later saying, I'm not sure this is going to work. It's very hard to get stuff in. I might give you your money back. And I said, look, don't do that. Let me help out. So I took over the whole kind of problem-solving aspect of it. I started talking to lots of hospitals in Gaza, all the institutions like World Health Organization, very, very difficult. Finally came across International Medical Corps, who are an American-backed charity, and they built an American-backed field hospital, which that field hospital alone has treated 200,000 people since January.
What?
So it's effectively the fourth leg, or it's the main referral hospital in Gaza. And the great thing about it is because these field hospitals can be packed up and moved in 12 hours. And you see the evacuation orders that happen all the time.
Yeah.
So these guys have a proven track record of getting things in. The unit, we raised the money in August. We shipped it a couple of weeks ago. It's currently sitting in Egypt on the border. There is onerous approval processes that have to be gone through, but we're nearly there, and we're very confident it's going to get in.
What sort of cost would something like this? Because the level that this can do, and even what is it's called a hospitainer, like what?
Yeah. So the unit is about 225,000. So for a fully functional operating theatre, I think it's pretty good value for money.
Wow.
The interesting thing is that you can actually buy a fully functioning field hospital, 50-bed field hospital for €2 million, which is, when you think about it, is incredibly cheap in the grand scheme of things.
It's unbelievable, like what you're able to do and how many people have been treated in these field hospitals. But obviously, there was an issue. You were able to scale very quickly in Ukraine, but there's been an issue with Gaza.
Well, it's exactly what we're trying to do in Gaza as well. So we've got our first unit, which is on the border with Gaza, but we've already agreed our second unit.
Okay.
So that is all. And thank you for the institutions for support. We're speaking to a number of universities and government with Ireland, and two incredible individuals, Professor Chris Fitzpatrick and Professor Jerry Burry, both of UCD, have been absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
Two of the most inspiring people I've ever met. And they've been giving us, I've worked with them in Ukraine. They're doing trauma training in Ukraine in Kyiv on an ongoing basis, but they've assisted us in Gaza. And we hope to scale it so that we get 10 units in, so that we effectively have an Irish hospital operating in Gaza, being operated by the International Medical Corps. So
what's the support like here in Ireland?
It's incredible, in fairness. It's an open door in terms of talking to the institutions, the government. Everybody wants to help. It's a horrible situation of what's happening in Gaza, and a terrible plight in the people. So everybody wants to help. And it's very difficult to get that help in place. And it has taken us literally 9 months to be able to get to the position that we are, and through a huge amount of work from Ross and multiple different areas. But we are making progress, and we're getting incredible support all around.
I suppose one thing, when wars like this drag on, you become desensitized to what's happening. Although we're waking up in the morning and we're seeing Beirut on fire today, a year on for the conflict. And Shane, you've been on the front line, you've been there seeing what's happening. We're seeing these pictures. You have to prepare yourself for this, like the human cost to what's happening.
Yeah, it is. You do have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself mentally, because not just because of what you see, but what you feel, and seeing the people. And it's different things that will affect you in different ways. But it is a difficult and obviously incredibly stressful.
You have kids yourself.
Yep.
You've been on the front line in Ukraine, I believe, a number of times.
Yep.
What's it like?
Surreal. Literally, I was in Odessa recently, and it's an absolutely beautiful city with a buzzing nightlife and bars and restaurants and people milling about and getting on with everyday life. And then just up the road, you've got the front line. And literally, I went from Odessa, went up to Kherson, was shelled in Kherson, unfortunately, but was back in Odessa having dinner and a glass of wine that night. So it's a surreal situation.
Isn't that crazy?
And it is just absolutely crazy, because you're then looking at people walking around Kherson who are just literally in a trance. Yeah. They're in post-traumatic stress.
Really?
So it's just an
and
incredible
drones,
situation.
I believe, though, are the big difference that you've noticed the time that you're there.
Yeah, I guess the first time I was in Kherson, the shelling was bad enough, but the most recent time, it has become a drone war, which is absolutely incredibly scary, because you're just constantly looking to the sky and constantly keeping a watch out, and it's just surreal again, because you're just constantly on edge with it.
I think for all of this, Ross, obviously you're looking at a situation where you're talking about 200,000 people treated in one field hospital, but as we've seen, there's over 40,000 people who have died. We don't know how many people are under rubble, and there are constant attacks. And it's unfortunate that you're sitting there going, we have to get more of these units in, and the personnel to then staff them, they're there and ready to go.
Yeah, this field hospital employs 1,000 Palestinian medical staff already, and another 1,000 volunteers. A lot of those people have lost their jobs, and there's a lot of very highly trained Palestinian medical staff. So, as well as saving lives, it's also giving people work to do. And we've been told that the Palestinian medics are the best because they know how to handle this kind of situation. A lot of foreign people coming in maybe wouldn't be able to cope. I think with regard to the situation and how long it's going to go on, like, what else can we do besides try and help keep people alive? There's not much else that we can do as humanitarians.
Is that what it felt like for you? It just felt like there was a call that you had the means and you have to do something.
There's 1 million children in Gaza.
Yeah.
There's 1 million, the half population of children. So I, from my perspective, just think that's absolutely heartbreaking, and not taking any sides. We just want to help in that regard.
Just want to help.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. When the unit's delivered over to Gaza, you're going to go over there. You're going to be over there as well.
Yeah.
Are you prepared for it? How do you prepare?
I don't think you can prepare for something like that. You got to get ready yourself, I guess, is the best way in relation to it, and just sort of switch your mental attitude towards that. Stay alert and just get on with it. Get in and get out as quickly as you can. In Gaza, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, and you are hopeful that, I know it's on the border with Egypt, and as you said, Ross, you have to continue to talk to everyone. This is what it is when you're doing humanitarian aid. You're trying to talk to everybody. So hopeful, and we know that with Egypt, they are trying all the time to get as much aid in as possible, and it has been quite difficult. But once you've started this supply route, that you've got all your vendors and suppliers, you think it'll be able to be wrapped up?
Well, so the IMC have already built a significant field hospital. They started in January, and they've got a lot of stuff in, and they know how to do it. It's very challenging. They've built a system. We're lucky to come across them, because I'm not sure if we were not working with them, would we be able to get anything in? So it is a bit of a Gordian knot. Hopefully we've solved it.
They do have regular supplies going in on a regular basis. Obviously, not as often as they want, but on a weekly basis, they have supplies going in.
The organisation is One4Humanity. If people are watching now and they want to help out, how can they do it?
At the moment, we've actually closed for funding. We're volunteers ourselves. We pay all of our own expenses. We've purchased the first hospital unit, and now we're in discussions with institutions about providing institutions and governments about providing additional units. So I guess it's to publicise it at the moment and what we're trying to do to be able to scale it, and that's our aim now, is to scale it.
You can of course find out more online to see what is happening, and it's phenomenal, the ingenuity that can happen out of these horrendous circumstances. It is amazing. Shane Leahy and also Ross Kelly, it is One4Humanity is where it is. Thank you both so much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Please stay safe.
All the
Mind
very
yourselves.
best. Yeah.
Thanks a million.
Amazing.